From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline, Malacanang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacanang in Review. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday expressed confidence that the first parliamentary election of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao or BARM will be honest, peaceful, and orderly. Speaking at the BARM Mayor's Conference at the Diamond Hotel in Manila, the President sought the cooperation of local chief executives to help ensure the success of the elections in the region next year. The chief executive urged all stakeholders in Mindanao to seize the opportunity to further develop the region through unity and constructive dialogue as he highlighted the region's immense potential. According to President Marcos, there are companies eyeing to do business in Mindanao, and it is up to them to take advantage and grab the opportunity. President Marcos Jr. said to not let this opportunity pass, as this may never come back. The first parliamentary election in BARM will be held simultaneously with the May 12, 2025 midterm elections.
Dateline, Malacanang.
The Philippines Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council, or LEDAC, on Tuesday has agreed to prioritize the passage of 28 bills under the Common Legislative Agenda, or CLA, within the 19th Congress or by June 2025. The LEDAC, chaired by President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and composed of representatives from the Senate, the House of Representatives, and the Cabinet, is a high-level advisory body that sets the legislative priorities of the government. In its meeting, LEDAC approved 18 bills as top priority, 8 of which are already in advanced stages in the legislative process, and 10 bills as second priority for passage. NEDA Secretary Arsenio Balisacan said, "The timely passage of these bills is critical in strengthening the country's economic governance and ensuring that the country is on track in implementing infrastructure flagship projects and maintaining fiscal sustainability." The top 10 priority bills are as follows: the reforms to Philippine capital markets, Archipelagic Sea Lanes Act, amendments to the Right-of-Way Act, excise tax on single-use plastics, rationalization of the mining fiscal regime, amendments to the Electric Power Industry Reform Act or EPIRA, Department of Water Resources, the corporate recovery and tax incentives for enterprises to maximize opportunities for reinvigorating the economy or create more Act, amendments to the Foreign Investors Long-Term Lease Act, and amendments to the Rice Tarification Law. The 8 measures that are already in its advanced stages are the Anti-Agricultural Economic Sabotage Act, amendments to the Government Procurement Reform Act, Anti-Financial Accounts Scamming Act, Self-Reliant Defense Posture Revitalization Act, Philippine Maritime Zones Act, Academic Recovery and Accessible Learning or ARAL Program Act, Value-Added Tax or VAT on Digital Services, and the new Government Auditing Code. Meanwhile, the second priority bills are as follows: the Blue Economy Act, the Enterprise-Based Education and Training Framework Act, amendments to the Universal Healthcare Act, Open Access in Data Transmission Act, Waste to Energy Bill, Mandatory Reserve Officer Training Corps or ROTC, Unified System of Separation, Retirement, and Pension of Military and Uniformed Personnel, E-Government Act or E-Governance Act, amendments to the Agrarian Reform Law, and the Philippine Immigration Act.
Dateline Malacanang.
The National Economic and Development Authority or NEDA Board, chaired by Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday, approved a flagship infrastructure project to boost broadband connectivity and strengthen cybersecurity. In a statement, the NEDA board said it approved the Philippine Digital Infrastructure Project or PDIP and the adjustments to the parameters of 9 other ongoing projects during a meeting in Malacanang. The 16.1 billion peso PDIP, which will be financed through the Official Development Assistance or ODA from the World Bank, aims to enhance the country's broadband connectivity and bring high-speed internet connection even in disadvantaged areas. It aims to augment digital infrastructure to bridge the digital divide, stimulate private sector investments, and strengthen capacity for cybersecurity and for protecting critical information infrastructure. The project, which is anchored on the National Broadband Program, a flagship initiative of the Department of Information and Communications Technology or DICT, involves the construction of a public broadband infrastructure network. This network comprises 5 major components: the backbone network, middle mile network, last mile access network, network security, and project management support. NEDA Secretary Arsenio Balisacan said, this project will enable the country to connect more Filipinos to markets and networks, spurring economic development. Aside from the PDIP, the board also approved the adjustments to various parameters of 9 ongoing infrastructure projects, 7 of which are part of the Infrastructure Flagship Projects list. These are the Local Governance Reform Project, Infrastructure Preparation and Innovation Facility, New Cebu International Container Port Project, Light Rail Transit Line 1 South Extension Project, Malolos-Clark Railway Project Tranche 1, Metro Manila Flood Management Project Phase 1, Reconstruction and Development Plan for a Greater Marawi Stage 2, Improving Growth Corridors in Mindanao Road Sector Project, and the Panguil Bay Bridge Project. The changes involve the project scope, cost, extension of implementation period, and loan validity. Balisacan said the adjustments to these ongoing infrastructure projects were necessary to ensure their successful completion, advancing the country's national efforts to expand and upgrade infrastructure, improve connectivity, and create more jobs.
Dateline Malacanang.
As the world celebrates the Day of the Seafarer 2024, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday reiterated his administration's thrust for a modern and future-ready maritime industry in the country. In a social media post, the president paid tribute to Filipino seafarers who he said are considered among the best in the world, driving the growth of both the international shipping industry and the global economy. The chief executive added that his administration, through the Department of Transportation or DOTR, will continue to advance the country's maritime industry and secure the best interest of all Filipino seafarers. President Marcos lauded the Maritime Industry Authority or MARINA for complying with international standards and keeping at par with other nations when it comes to this specialized industry. Celebrated every June 25th, the Day of the Seafarer is an annual celebration organized by the International Maritime Organization or IMO to recognize the valuable contribution seafarers make to international trade and the world economy. It was established in a resolution adopted by the 2010 Diplomatic Conference in Manila to adopt the revised standards of training, certification, and watchkeeping convention. Nearly a quarter of the world's seafarers are Filipinos.
Dateline Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday recognized the role that government agencies play to reach the administration's goal of a new Philippines wherein no Filipino will experience hunger. Speaking at the Walang Gutom Awards in Malacanang, the President said he wants ending hunger to be his lasting legacy. Citing data from the Department of Social Welfare and Development or DSWD, the chief executive said around 3 million households still suffer from involuntary hunger. To address this, President Marcos issued Executive Order or EO number 44 in October last year, establishing the Walang Gutom 2027 Food Stamp Program as a flagship program of the national government in addressing hunger and stunting among children. Under the program, the DSWD as the primary government entity responsible for the implementation and management of social welfare development programs will serve as the lead implementing agency. The program provides monetary assistance for targeted beneficiaries to purchase food commodities from eligible partner merchant stores. Likewise, it provides the government with data to monitor the progress of beneficiaries in addressing their food problems, ensuring that their families are getting the food and nutrition that they require. President Marcos also emphasized the critical role of local government units or LGUs in the fight against hunger, especially in ensuring the programs will reach the grassroots level. Let's listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
It is a day today filled with promise and opportunity as we address a matter of utmost significance that affects millions still of fellow Filipinos, and that is the problem of hunger. According to data from the DSWD, nearly 12% of Filipino families, around 3 million households, still experienced hunger at least once over the last 3 months of 2022. 1 in 3 Filipino children under 5 years old is still suffering from stunted growth due to malnutrition. Our ranking in the Global Hunger Index, or GHI, is also far from ideal, with the country scoring 14.8 or moderately hungry, which fares below the regional score of East and Southeast Asia of 8.2. We are aware of the challenges that we face, but we see the potential to change this situation. We see this in our NGOs and social workers, our partners from the diplomatic corps and the different international agencies, the social workers who are reaching out to help as much as they can, in our many communities coming together so as that we can feed the hungry and the less fortunate. In every Filipino working hard to provide food for themselves and for their families. To add to these efforts, last October, I signed Executive Order number 44, Walang Gutom 2027, the Food Stamp Program. Implemented through the DSWD, it provides monetary assistance for targeted beneficiaries to purchase food commodities from eligible partner merchant stores. More than that, it provides the government with valuable data to monitor the progress of our beneficiaries in addressing their food problems, ensuring that their families are getting the food and the nutrition that they require. However, even as the national government is more than willing to take the lead in helping address this problem of hunger through these programs, we acknowledge that we also need to tap and partner with our local governments, as we always do when it comes to making a program reach the grassroots level. As agents of the government on the ground, our LGUs not only have a better knowledge and have good insights on the incidence of hunger in their localities, but also provide maybe perhaps better programs, better strategies, or approaches to address hunger, specific to the areas that their constituents lie. And that is why today, we confer the Walang Gutom Awards, or the WGA, to recognize the local governments that have been exceptional in addressing hunger in their communities. Evaluated on the criteria of impact, of inclusivity, innovation, resilience, sustainability, and efficiency, these LGUs have implemented fresh, new, and exciting ideas in their respective food programs, as well as brought renewed impetus in our collective drive against hunger in our country. I thank the Galing Po Foundation and the DSWD, led by Secretary Rex Gatchalian, for coming up with this initiative. To all the 17 finalists of this year's Walang Gutom Awards, I salute you. Each of you has already won and have been included in the prestigious list of nominees. I likewise acknowledge, of course, the 101 local government units, from barangays to municipalities and cities to provinces, that filed their application and participated in this year's pilot program implementation. Your involvement in the process means a lot to the national government, especially as we aim to put an end to hunger that has been causing suffering to the vulnerable and marginalized in the Philippines for many decades. You are already Walang Gutom champions in the hearts and minds of our people. And I hope that you will continue to sustain or even improve upon your noteworthy programs. Indeed, we need more LGUs like you to achieve our mission of Walang Gutom by 2027. And I pray that this year's awards will also spur and inspire other LGUs to replicate your successes across the country. So now I invite all our LGUs to look at these outstanding programs of our nominees, see how and why their programs work, and examine whether you can adopt or improve these further to apply them in your communities. The national government will also be taking notes to see what more can be done at the national level. So our takeaway from this event should be that each and every one of us can contribute to the success of our campaign against hunger. If we are truly to succeed in this endeavor, we must put in a whole-of-nation approach to create a lasting solution to this great challenge. I call upon our government and our partners from the private sector, from the non-profit organizations, citizens, our friends in from the international community, and citizens to work together as a united front and Walang Gutom advocates. I remember it is topical that we speak of this now. I remember sitting in that spot and being interviewed very early on. I think it's my third day in office. And I was being interviewed, and the interviewer asked me, what would you like to be your legacy for your presidency, for your administration? And it was a question that I was not prepared for. It is a question that I had not actually thought about. But the answer came to me in an instant. Wala nang gutom. Wala nang gutom na Pilipino. That is my dream. No hungry Filipino. So thank you for being part of that effort. It is as noble a cause as we can possibly have, is to make sure that every single Filipino, each and every one of whom we love like a family member, never again feel the pangs of hunger. And that, I think, if we can achieve that, then I think we can claim to have led a good life. So let us move forward with determination, with compassion, and with purpose to build a bagong Pilipinas where food is not only affordable, but plentiful, where every bagong Filipino leads a good, healthy, and productive life.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday attended the 2024 National Employment Summit at the Manila Hotel in the city of Manila. This is part of the administration's thrust in empowering the Filipino workforce by providing more quality, remunerative, and permanent jobs, including the creation of environmentally friendly green jobs. With the theme, Trabaho para sa Bayan, Maunlad na Negosyo at Dekalidad na Trabaho, Daan sa Bagong Pilipinas, the two-day event that began on June 26 brings together leaders from various labor groups and organizations, top executives from private business organizations, as well as representatives from micro, small, and medium enterprises, or MSMEs, and other stakeholders. Spearheaded by the Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE, in partnership with the National Economic and Development Authority, or NEDA, Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI, and the International Labor Organization, or ILO, the National Employment Summit seeks to establish the guiding principles for the Trabaho para sa Bayan, or TPB plan, which will serve as the country's master plan on employment generation and recovery. In his speech, the President said, the inaugural summit gathers the key players and stakeholders in the private sector that will formulate TPB plan that will serve as a guide for the creation of at least 3 million new jobs by 2028 and further develop the country's economy. Let us now listen to Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s speech during the event.
I welcome you all to the first ever National Employment Summit. It is a momentous occasion because we gather the key players and stakeholders in the labor sector for the formulation of the Trabaho para sa Bayan plan, or the TPB plan. This is a 10-year roadmap that will serve as a guide towards greater employment generation and towards recovery. In line with our priorities and the outcomes that we desire, and strategies stated in the Philippine Development Plan, the Philippine Labor and Employment Plan, the Strategic Investment Priority Plan, and the Workforce Development Plan, the TPB plan will be one of the driving forces to help create at least 3 million new jobs by the year 2028. Beyond generating employment, though, what we want to achieve is creating quality jobs, with special emphasis on ensuring workers' welfare, empowerment, competitiveness, and security in all sectors of our labor sector. This is why government is working doubly hard to address the proverbial problems that we have always faced: job skills mismatch, underemployment, unemployment, through the reforms in our basic education curriculum, the embedding of TVET in the senior high school curriculum, and the implementation of employment facilitation initiatives. My dear colleagues, this is the perfect time for our key players to come together, from workers to employers, government, other partners, private sector partners, to harness the spirit of bayanihan as we meet the emerging needs in the local, national, regional, and international labor markets, which has become such an important part of the Philippine experience. We have exciting times that lie ahead. We look forward to the new jobs, the new sectors, the new opportunities that are waiting for us and for the Philippines. So let us lay the groundwork that will ensure that the next decade will be a decade of meaningful employment and economic growth. Let us craft a TPB plan with the goal of ensuring that our people are reaching their fullest potential as active participants in building our nations and our world. At this juncture, allow me to acknowledge the efforts of the Department of Labor and Employment, the Department of Trade and Industry, and the National Economic and Development Authority, together with our partners in the employment sector, for shepherding this important plan to this fruition. Equally important is the participation and contribution of trade unions, of industry tripartite councils, federations, employers groups, and other participants during the regional conversations that paved the way to this summit that we are attending today. Let me also commend all of you for the signing of this employment covenant, because it is a document that will serve as another crucial input to the 10-year Trabaho para sa Bayan plan. Altogether, the covenant and the TPB plan will ensure the interagency and multipartite approach to achieving our objectives for productive, remunerative, and decent employment generation. To our partners from the private sector, I once again call on you to work closely with government to create more quality and green jobs for our workers. May you also take advantage of the incentives and reforms that we have put in place to expand your operations, generate more employment and opportunities for all Filipinos. To those development partners who have played an important part in bringing us to this day, we thank you once again for helping us strengthen a more resilient and prosperous economy that provides decent, quality jobs for Filipinos. And I look forward to our future collaborations. To our workers, I urge all of you to continue honing your skills and competencies to be ready for the exciting employment opportunities that lie ahead of us. We in government will support this effort and provide that upskilling and reskilling, as we are now referring to it, so that we are competitive not only in the local job market, but also in the international labor markets. The new technologies that are coming in have changed the priorities of every economy. The arrival of the digital economy, the expansion of the digital space, the soon already, actually is already here, we don't just quite realize it, but the increasing involvement of AI requires the technical knowledge and the technical training and experience for us to be able to participate. And that is the job of government. The job of government is to be able to bring you to the skill levels that are required so we can compete in the job markets, once again, here in the Philippines and also abroad. So rest assured that this administration will continue to ensure the sustainability of jobs, upskilling and reskilling of our workers to maintain the productivity and the edge of our labor force and our economy. With our unity and cooperation, I'm certain we will not only survive, but thrive in the evolving job market, ensuring no Filipino is left behind as we move forward. So let us embrace this unified vision. Let us fully heed the call of the Trabaho para sa Bayan plan. Muli, maraming salamat sa inyong pagsisikap na pangalagaan ang kapakanan ng ating mga manggagawa at maisulong ang isang bagong Pilipinas.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday said his predecessor, Rodrigo Duterte, and his two sons are more than free to run in future elections. Vice President Sara Duterte recently announced that her father and brothers, Davao City 1st District Representative Paulo Duterte and Davao City Mayor Baste Duterte, will run for senators next year. Vice President Duterte added that Baste, the youngest of the Duterte siblings, is also eyeing the presidency in 2028. In a media interview Thursday, the president said, it is still too early to talk about the 2025 elections or the 2028 presidential polls.
It's a free country. They're allowed to do whatever it is they want. I really have no reaction to it. Besides, it's still early. We really won't know any of these things. We're talking about 2028. Ang dami pang mangyayari between now and 2028. And the only real situation will become clear in October sa filing. Then we will see really kung tatakbo ba talaga, sino ba talagang tatakbo, kanino sasama, what are the parties involved, which parties are in alliance with which. Yun lang natin makikita sa Oktubre. So all of these announcements, tignan natin kung matutuloy pagdating ng Oktubre.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday distributed over 288 million pesos worth in assistance to individuals affected by the El Niño phenomenon in Western Visayas. The President visited San Jose de Buenavista in Antique Province to turn over farm machinery and equipment, as well as cash assistance to farmers, fisherfolk, and families as part of his promise to provide relief to all Filipinos greatly affected by the extreme drought during the El Niño months. The chief executive distributed 10,000 pesos each to 50 select beneficiaries from the provinces of Antique, Iloilo, Guimaras, Capiz, and Aklan. Likewise, the 5 provincial governments received the following substantial amount: 50 million pesos each to Antique, Iloilo, Capiz, and Aklan, while 28,410,000 pesos was given to Guimaras. In his speech, President Marcos said, the government will strive to reach remote communities in every corner of the country so that no one will be left behind. Let us listen to Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s speech during the event.
Malugod kong binabati ang ating mga magsasaka, ating mga mangingisda, at ang inyong mga pamilya na nagpaunlak sa aking paanyaya. Sa aking pagkakaalala, hindi ito ang unang kong pagsasama sapagkat nakapagpabahagi na tayo ng tulong noong 2022. Nabanggit na ito. Matapos na dumaan ang bagyong Paeng. Noong panahon naman na yon, nilibot namin ang Antique upang malaman ang lawak ng pinsala na kalamidad at upang mabigyan ng tulong pinansyal at livelihood grant ang mga kababayan nating nangangailangan. Wala pang 1 taon matapos na nasabing programa, bumisita naman ulit ako upang magpakaloob ng mahigit 1,000 sako ng bigas, magbigay ng scholarship grant at mamahagi ng iba pang mga ayuda sa ating mga mamamayan. Sa taon namang ito, masaya kong ibinabalita na tuluyan na ating inaayos at binuksan ang tulay na nasira ng bagyong Paeng, ang Paliwan Bridge, na yung luma ay nasira, naglalagay po tayo ng bago. Ito ay dudugtong sa mga bayan ng Lauan at Bugasong. Kaugnay nito, nasa halos 80% ang natapos sa ating ipinapatayong Panay East-West Lateral Road na nakakahalaga ng humigit kumulang siyam na bilyong piso. Kasabay nito, ang pagsasakatuparan ng Antique Airport Development Project na magbibigay ng serbisyo sa mas maraming pasahero at mas malaking eroplano. Alam niyo po, nung naglanding kami, nabanggit ko kay Senadora, at sabi ko, napakaganda na pala nung airport ninyo. Kaya ito ay malaking bagay. Kaya congratulations, Senator. Alam ko, pinaghirapan mo yung airport at dinahandahan mo yun. Sa wakas, makikita na natin. Kaya huwag mo sanang makalimutan na makapag-landing naman kami dyan pag inauguration na ng bagong airport ninyo. Sa susunod na buwan, sisimulan na natin ang pagpapalawak ng runway, paglalagay ng mga check-in counter, at iba pang mga kagamitan para sa passenger terminal building. Ngunit hindi rito natatapos ang pagpapakita namin ng suporta, malasakit at pagmamahal sa Antique. Batid namin na kailangan ninyo ng sandigan at kaagapay upang mapagtagumpayan ang mga pagsubok na kaakibat ng El Nino. Kaya naman, narito kami upang personal kong makita at maghatid ng tulong sa Antiqueño na nakikiisa sa ating ngayon. Sa katunayan, nasimulan na natin kanina ang pagbabahagi ng mga makabagong makinarya at kagamitan sa pagsasaka sa ating mga benepisyaryo. Sa pangunguna ng DA, ng Department of Agriculture, makakapagbigay po tayo ng 33 sako ng binhi at halos 100 biofertilizer ng Anghamtik Multipurpose Cooperative. Kasabay nito, ang pagbabahagi ng 100 pangsako ng hybrid seed at mahigit 5,000 biofertilizer pack sa ating mga magsasaka. Mas lalong gaganda ang ani dahil po ang Antique pala ang record holder sa region sa pinakamataas ang produksyon ng bigas. Ang national average po, mga 4.2 tons per hectare. Dito, umaabot po ng 6 tons. Meron binabalita sa akin, 11 tons daw. May mga ibang lugar, hanggang 10, 11 tons ay nagagawa nila. Kaya pagpatuloy natin ito para sana naman lahat, ganyan din ang masasabi na napakalaki ang ngani at napakaganda ang kita. Sa ilalim naman ng mga high-value crops development program, magbibigay din po kami sa inyo ng 7 power sprayer at isang multi-cultivator, yung isang malaking makina doon na nasa labas. Sa parte naman ng PhilMec, nakapaghanda rin kami ng 4 na 4-wheel tractor, 2 rice combine harvester, at 2 floating tiller. Ito po ay para ulit, mas mabilis ang pag-ani, mas mabilis ang pagsaka, mas mura ang magiging cost natin para mas maganda ang kita ng ating mga nagsasaka. Hindi rin naman nagpapahuli ang Philippine Coconut Authority at nagdala ng 50 seed nuts kasama ang TESDA na magsasagawa naman ng pagsasanay upang mapalawak ang inyong kaalaman at ang inyong kakayahan. Sa tulong naman ng BIFAR, ang Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, makatanggap ang ating mga magsasaka ng 37 set na post-harvest kit at 4 na unit na fiber-reinforced na bangka, na plastic boat. Pero yung boat, yung bangka na binibigay natin ngayon, nagbago na ang disenyo, lumaki na, at kayo ang nag-design sa atin. Tinuruan lang namin yung mga iba kung paano gagawin, ngunit yung design ng bangka, kung ano yung gusto mo, yung iniisip at pinaka-gusto ng ating mga mangingisda. At magbibigay naman ang aking tanggapan, Office of the President, ng tigsa 10,000 na piso sa ilang piling benepisyaryo mula dito sa Antique, sa Iloilo, sa Guimaras, Capiz at Aklan. Mag-aabot din kami ng karagdagang cash assistance na nakakahalaga ng 50 milyong piso para sa provincial government ng Antique. Makakatanggap din ang tinatayang nasa 10,000 benepisyaryo ng tigsa 10,000 piso na hinanda naman ng DSWD. Kasama din po ang ating mga congressman at mula sa Office of the Speaker, Speaker Martin Romualdez, nakapag-uwi ng tigli 5 kilong bigas ang bawat isang narito ngayon. Bagamat ay malayo na rin ang inabot natin mula nung naumpisa natin ang natahakin na ang daan tungo sa bagong Pilipinas, marami pa tayong sektor na dapat pagtuunan ng pansin at kailangan pang alalayan. Magtiwala po kayo na sisikapin namin na maabot ang ating mga liblib at malalayong pamayanan sa bawat sulok ng bansa. Nang sa gayon ay walang maiiwanan at walang mahuhuli at sama-sama tayong paglalakbay sa bagong Pilipinas, patungo sa bagong Pilipinas. Sa pakikipagsapalaran natin ito, umaasa ako na makikiisa kayo sa amin at sa inyong lokal na pamahalaan upang mapaunlad palalo ang inyong ekonomiya at magdala ng pangmatagalang kasaganahan sa Antique. Maging matalino at maingat kayo sa lahat ng paggamit ng biyayang ipinagkaloob namin ngayong araw nang hindi lamang ang pagsasaka at pangingisda ng Antique ang ating mapapayabong, kung hindi pati na rin ang mga kalapitbayan na tumatanaw sa inyo bilang inspirasyon. Nananatiling bukas ang inyong pamahalaan upang makinig at tumugon sa inyong mga hinaing at upang matulungan kayong makamit ang inyong mga pangarap para sa inyong mga sarili, para sa inyong mga pamilya, at kasama rin para sa buong Pilipinas. Sama-sama po tayong manindigan sa ating mga mithiin at magkaisa po tayo na walang alinlangan tungo sa mas maunlad, matiwasay at matatag na bagong Pilipinas.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday afternoon led the distribution of about 608 million pesos worth in financial support, agricultural projects, and other assistance from the national government during his visit to Bacolod City. In his message before thousands of beneficiaries of the El Nino cash assistance in Negros Occidental Province at the University of Negros Occidental Recoletos football field, the president said they visited Bacolod to show their love and support for its citizens. Some 8,315 farmers and fisherfolk severely affected by drought were recipients of 10,000 pesos each, totaling 83.15 million pesos from the Presidential Assistance to Farmers, Fisherfolk and Families, or PAFFF, funded by the Office of the President or OP. The Chief Executive also provided monetary support of 10 million pesos to the city of Bacolod and 50 million pesos to the province of Negros Occidental, sourced from the OP Socio-Civic Projects Fund. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
Sa ating mga minamahal na mga magsasaka, mangingisda, kasama ang inyong mga pamilya dito sa ating tinutukoy na City of Smiles, isang taus-pusong pagbati mula sa ating pamahalaan. Narito po kami ngayon sa Bacolod upang ipadama ang aming pagmamahal at suporta sa mga tunay na bayani ng ating panahon. Kayo ang walang humpay na pagsisikap para sa ating bayan. Ngayon naman, kaliwat kanan ang pagsubok na inyong kinakaharap mula sa pabago-bagong klima hanggang sa mga kalamidad. Hindi namin kayo pababayaan. Isa na rito ay ang matinding pagsubok na dulot ng pagputok ng Bulkang Canlaon nitong Hunyo lamang. Sa kasalukuyan, umabot na sa higit 9,000 pamilya o mahigit 27,000 katao ang naapektuhan ng pag-aalboroto ng kanloon. Ang mga pinsalang idinulot nito sa agrikultura ng Negros Occidental ay umabot sa mahigit 11 milyong piso na ikinalugi ng 135 mangingisda at magsasaka. Bilang tugon sa hamong ito, namamahagi ang DSWD ng higit 24 milyong pisong halaga ng tulong sa Bago City, sa La Carlota, sa La Castellana, Moises Padilla at Pontevedra. Bukod po rito, kasalukuyan isinasagawa ng Department of Agriculture ang pagsisiyasat sa epekto ng pagputok ng bulkan sa sektor ng agrikultura at pangisdaan upang matiyak na maibibigay ang angkop na tulong na mga hakbangin. Nakakaantabay na rin ang DA Region 6 Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Operations Center at yung Livestock Rescue Evacuation Center sa pag-alalay sa mga nag-aalaga ng hayop sa oras ng pangangailangan. Ang Negros Occidental Provincial Veterinary Office naman ay nagbigay na rin ng mga gamot sa La Castellana at nagpadala ng mga veterinaryo at mga eksperto upang tumulong sa mga nag-aalaga ng mga hayop. Kasabay din nito, hindi rin natin nakakalimutan ang pinsala na idinudulot ng nagdaang El Nino sa kabuhayan ng ating mga magsasaka at mangingisda. Kaya ang Department of Agriculture Region 6 ay patuloy na nagsasagawa ng pananaliksik sa pansala ng El Nino at tumutulong sa mga mangingisda at magsasaka sa kanilang pagbangon at rehabilitasyon. Mga minamahal kong mga kababayan, sa araw na ito, magkakaroon pa tayo ng karagdagang tulong para sa inyong lahat. Magbibigay po tayo ng tigsa 10,000 piso na siyang ipapamahagi ng lokal na pamahalaan sa mga benepisyaryo mula dito sa Bacolod City at iba pang bahagi ng Negros Occidental. Bilang karagdagan sa mga ito, maglalaan din tayo ng 10 milyong piso para sa pamahalaan lungsod ng Bacolod at 50 milyong piso para naman sa pamahalaang panlalawigan ng Negros Occidental. Magkakaroon din ng iba't ibang uri ng tulong ang ilang sangay ng pamahalaan. Ang DSWD ay magbibigay ng tigsa 10,000 piso sa 10,000 makakatanggap mula sa hanay ng mga magsasaka, mangingisda at sa kanilang pamilya. Bukod pa rito, kasama rin po ang ating mga congressman at ang tanggapan ng House Speaker na si Speaker Martin Romualdez ay magbibigay din ng tigli 5 kilong bigas sa lahat ng nandito ngayon. Sa kabilang dako naman, patuloy rin natin isinusulong ang mga proyekto para sa ikagagaan ng buhay ng mga mamamayan ng Negros Occidental. Isang mahalagang proyekto na ating tinututukan ay ang Bacolod Negros Occidental Economic Highway na magsasaayos at magpapalawak ng mahigit 42 kilometro ng daan. Magtatayo ng 12 bagong tulay at magpapatibay sa kasalukuyang 6 na kilometrong kalsada at 4 na tulay. At nariyan din ang Asenso Yuhum Residences dito sa Bacolod City. Tinutukan din natin ang pagpapabuti ng kabuhayan ng ating mga kababayan dito. Sa ilalim naman ng tulong panghanap buhay para sa disadvantaged displaced workers o yung tinatawag na TUPAD programa ng DOLE, patuloy tayong magbibigay ng tulong sa mga benepisyaryo ng rehiyon. Layunin nito na magbigay ng pansamantalang kabuhayan para sa mga nawalan ng trabaho at mga nasa laylayan ng lipunan. Sa pangunguna naman ng TESDA, magbibigay tayo ng training allowance upang makakuha ng bagong kasanayan ang ating mga kababayan at makatulong sa kanilang paghahanap ng mas magandang trabaho. Maliban sa mga ito, magbibigay din kami ng mga makinaryang pangsaka, mga seedling, mga iba't ibang kagamitan, livelihood starter kit na makakatulong sa inyo ng pangmatagalan. Inaasahan natin na bubuo ito ng isang produktibong pamayanan, ng isang maaliwalas at kaayang-ayang kapaligiran. Mga kababayan, ako ay nasasabik na makita ang kalalabasan ng lahat ng ito, pati na rin sa magiging epekto nito sa ekonomiya ng inyong lokalidad, lalo na ngayong bahagi na kayo ng bagong Negros Island Region. Pinapangako ko na walang magsasaka o mangingisda o sino mang Pilipino ang mapag-iiwanan sa aming pinapangarap na bagong Pilipinas. Bilang inyong Pangulo, ang aking pangarap ay isang bansang maunlad kung saan ang bawat isa ay mamumuhay ng may dangal at katiyakan sa kanilang kinabukasan. Sa inyong tulong at suporta, makakamit po natin ito. Basta tayo ay sama-sama at nagtutulungan at tayo ay kapit-bisig na pinapaganda ang ating mga anghanap buhay at tumutulong tayo sa mga nangangailangan ng tulong, maaabot na rin po natin ang ating pangarap ng bagong Pilipinas.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday delivered various agricultural and livelihood assistance as well as the presidential assistance to the farmers, fishermen, and residents of Dumaguete City at the Lamberto Macias Sports and Cultural Center in Dumaguete City, Negros Oriental Province. In his message, the President shared the continuation of major development projects such as the new Dumaguete Airport, which is expected to boost economy, tourism, and trade in the region, and the Dumaguete Port expansion, which is aimed at expanding the port for additional cargo capacity and to serve more passengers. During the ceremony, the chief executive handed over farm machineries, equipment, and other support services to enhance productivity and sustainability in the agricultural sector. The key distributions include 10,000 pesos each to 10 beneficiaries from the province of Negros Oriental, 10 pesos each to 10 beneficiaries from the province of Siquijor, 50 million pesos to the provincial government of Negros Oriental, and 25,440,000 pesos to the provincial government of Siquijor. Let us listen to Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s speech during the event.
Una sa lahat, nais kong iparating sa inyo, patuloy natin binabantayan ang sitwasyon sa Barangay Liptong, sa bayan ng Bacong dahil sa landslide doon. Pati na rin ang mga pagbahang dulot ng malakas na pag-ulan sa ilang lugar nitong nakaraang ilang araw. Patuloy lamang din po ang ating ginagawa na clearing operation sa nasabing lugar. At kahit na walang naiulat na nasawi o nasugatan sa mga insidenteng ito, pinaalalahanan natin na ang mga mamamayan na mag-ingat po kayo at sundin ang payo ng ating mga lokal na pamahalaan na opisyal. Maliban sa pangungumusta ko po sa inyong ngayong araw na ito, narito rin po tayo at nagtitipon upang magbigay pugay sa ating mga magsasaka, sa ating mga mangingisda at sa kanilang mga pamilya na laging nakaagapay sa kanilang paghahanap buhay. Kayo ang bida ngayon sa ating kwento ng tagumpay dahil sa bawat pagtatanim at pangingisda ninyo, ay pinapanday din ninyo ang kinabukasang puno ng pag-asa at pangako para sa lahat. Hindi lamang para sa inyong sarili, hindi lamang para sa inyong pamilya, kung hindi po pati na sa bansang Pilipinas. Kaya naman po, upang ipakita at ipadama ang aming pagkilala sa lahat sa inyong kontribusyon sa ating bayan, handog po namin ngayon ang mga tulong na ito. Mula po sa tanggapan ng Pangulo, magbibigay po tayo ng 50 milyong piso sa pamahalaan lokal ng Negros Oriental at mahigit 25 milyong piso naman para sa kalapit ninyong probinsya sa Siquijor. Ito po ay dagdag, nasa labas po ng programa ng ating mga iba't ibang departamento. At meron po tayong ayuda, yung DOLE may tupad, marami po tayong mga binibigay na sa programa natin. Ngunit nakita po namin, dahil sa pag-iikot ko sa buong Pilipinas, nakita ko po na talagang napakabigat ang naramdaman ng lalo ng mga magsasaka at mangingisda. At malaki ang nawala sa inyong lahat dahil nga sa pagtuyot sa dala ng El Nino. Kaya naman po, sinabi ko sa aking mga kasama, sabi niya, tignan naman ninyo, baka meron pa tayong makuhang pondo sa Office of the President. Kaya po, yung ibibigay po natin sa ating mga gobernador ay yun po ang pondo na nanggaling sa Office of the President upang pandagdag pa para sa tulong na ibibigay namin ngayong araw. Bukod po riyan, mamamahagi rin po tayo ng tigsa 10,000 sa mga piling benepisyaryo galing dito sa inyong lugar na pangungunahan ng inyong lokal na pamahalaan. Ngayong araw din po ay ipapamahagi ng DSWD ang tig 10,000 piso para sa 7,200 benepisyaryo ng ayuda sa kapos ng Angkita Program dito sa Negros Oriental. Ang Department of Agriculture naman ay magbibigay ng isang greenhouse with hydroponic system dito sa Dumaguete at 2 pa sa Tanay City. Yun meron tayong sample dito nasa labas. Ang Department of Agriculture, ang PhilMec at ang PhilFida ay mamamahagi rin ng makinarya at kagamitan tulad ng traktor, spindle stripping machine at stripping knife. Habang ang BIFAR naman ay magbibigay ng isang fishing boat, mga lubid, fishing net at feeds para sa mga benepisyado dito sa Negros Oriental. Sa pagtutulungan po ng Department of Agriculture at saka ng PhilFida, magbibigay tayo ng binhi para sa urban gardening dito sa lungsod ng Dumaguete. 20 sako ng yellow corn seeds para sa Tanay City at 30,000 abaka planting materials para sa Negros Oriental. Meron ding pinansyal na tulong ang ilan nating ahensya tulad ng PCA, ang Philippine Coconut Authority po yan, at saka ACPC para sa pagtatanim ng nyog at pagsisimula ng agri-negosyo, habang ang PCIC naman ay magbibigay ng danyos para sa mga magsasaka ng Tanay City na nasalanta na ang mga pananim. Nandito rin po ang DOLE upang magbigay ng tulong pinansyal sa ilalim ng Integrated Livelihood Program at kasama rin dyan yung sa programa na tawag natin ay yung TUPAD Program. At ang TESDA naman ay nagbigay ng kagamitan para masimulaan at mapaganda pa ang organic farming at scholarship para sa mga magsasaka ng nyug at palay, habang ang DTI, ang Department of Trade and Industry, ay magbibigay ng mga gamit na pangnegosyo, vouchers at sertipiko sa ilalim ng Pangkabuhayan sa Pagbangon at Ginhawa Program. At meron pang dagdag dahil po kasama po yung ating mga congressman at nabalitaan po nila na tayo ay umiikot at nagdadala ng tulong para sa ating mga kababayan ay meron din naman kasamang handog ang Office of the Speaker of the House, si Speaker Martin Romualdez, na tig 5 kilong bigas sa lahat ng dumalo sa okasyong ito ngayon. Hindi po lamang galing sa tanggapan ko at ilang ahensya ng gobyerno ang hatid namin sa inyo ngayon. Dala rin po namin ang mga magagandang balita tungkol sa mga proyekto ng pamahalaan na ay kakasaya ninyo at pakikinabangan ninyo dito sa lungsod ng Dumaguete at sa buong Negros Oriental. Una na rito, ang New Dumaguete Airport Development Project para dito sa Negros Oriental na nakakahalaga na humigit kumulang 17 bilyong piso. Hindi lamang ito magsisilbi na bagong paliparan. Bagkus ay isang bagong simbolo ng pag-asa para sa paglago ng turismo, kalakalan at ekonomiya dito sa inyong lugar. Sa kabilang dako, kasalukuyan natin pinaayos ang Dumaguete Port Expansion Project na naglalayong palawigin ang kakayahan nitong tumanggap ng mga pasahero at kargamento. Binibigyan pansin din natin ang kalusugan ng ating mga mamamayan dito sa inyong lugar sa pamamagitan ng ating pagtatag ng Dumaguete City Super Family Health Center. May kabuuhang halaga ng 15 million na piso ang proyektong ito na magbibigay ng pangunahing serbisyong pangkalusugan, birthing clinic, botika, x-ray machine at iba pang mga serbisyo para sa 30 barangay. Pinapatunayan lamang na lahat na ito ang ating determinasyon na makapagbigay ng dekalidad na serbisyong pangkalusugan sa bawat residente ng Dumaguete at ang mga karatig puok. Sa kabuuan, ang lahat ng ito ay hudyat ng bagong yugto para sa ating mga mamamayan dito sa Dumaguete, dito sa Negros Oriental. Kasama na rito ang pagbuklod ninyo sa Negros Occidental upang itatag na ang Negros Island Region o NIR. Batid ko po na may agam-agam ang marami sa inyo, ngunit matagal na po natin itong pinag-aaralan. Matagal na rin po itong isinusulong at ngayon naman ay atin lamang isinakatuparan. Sa tulong ng NIR, magkakaroon kayo ng magandang pagkakataon upang lalong mapaunlad ang inyong rehiyon at maihahatid ang maayos at epektibong serbisyo sa ating mamamayan. Magiging mas madali po ang paghahatid ng serbisyo mula sa national government dahil hindi na ganun kalayo at hindi na mahirap makapunta sa mga regional offices na kailangan natin puntahan paminsan-minsan. Kaya't kapit kamay po tayo sa paglalakbay na ito. Baon natin ang tiwala, pagkakaisa at pagtutulungan sa ating mga puso tungo sa katuparan ng ating pangarap ng bagong Pilipinas.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacanang.
And finally, underscoring the nation's commitment to advancing tourism and gastronomy, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Friday graced the opening ceremony of the 36th Joint Meeting of the United Nations or UN Tourism Commission for East Asia and the Pacific and the UN Tourism Commission for South Asia or CAP-CSA at the Grand Ballroom of Sheraton Cebu Mactan Resort in Lapu-Lapu City. The 36th CAP-CSA brings together delegates from UN tourism member states, affiliate members, and various organizations to discuss the UN Tourism Program for 2024 to 2025 and Asia-Pacific issues, aiming to promote sustainable gastronomy tourism while preserving local traditions and natural resources. In line with the global push for sustainability, the forum will address cost-effective and environmentally responsible strategies for maximizing local sourcing, minimizing food waste, combating climate change, and promoting circularity in gastronomy tourism. The meeting sets the stage for a series of engaging discussions and collaborative efforts to promote sustainable tourism and showcase the rich country heritage of the Asia-Pacific region. Let us listen to Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s speech during the event.
Apart from having the chance to shape the course of the future of tourism in our region, I consider this event as a tremendous chance for exposure for the Philippines and a very welcome boost to our efforts to show that we are one of the world's leading tourist destinations. I am very, very optimistic that your meetings will be a platform for collaboration, for discourse, and the sharing of best practices on such crucial topics for the sector as we prepare for the activities leading up to the World Tourism Day of 2024. I am especially delighted to know that two important matters to be discussed here involve education and product development through green transformation in tourism. Indeed, education is always going to make any industry better, and certainly tourism is no different. We need to raise the standards and practices in this crucial sector by investing in education, training, and skills upgrading of all the personnel who are working in this industry. We will require experts and professionals from different fields to come and help to make tourism a meaningful, an educational, and impactful experience, not only for our tourists, but also for our stakeholders. For what good will any tourism effort be if it ends up destroying the local culture and ecology? So this brings us to another important topic that we also need to address when it comes to developing our respective tourism industries, which is sustainability. We need to adopt sustainability in our society and economy, and certainly in the sector of tourism. We must go green in the transformation of our tourism products and services as a solution to address climate change, resource preservation, and long-term industry sustainability. As a matter of fact, I would take that even a step further. And if we are to talk about tourism, I am of the belief that the greener you are, the better the tourism experience will be. So we are also working with the private sector to pursue reforms that will make tourists visit, stay, spend, and return to the Philippines. These include measures such as easing visa access, enhancing water sanitation and healthcare facilities in tourist destinations, improving connectivity hubs such as airports. By adopting these practices, we create a tourism industry that not only creates responsible visitors, but also uplifts the lives of those who are part of that activity. Tourism plays a vital role in our economies and in our societies. In 2023, the share of tourism direct gross value added to the Philippine economy that amounted to 8.6% of our GDP, or 2.09 trillion pesos, which roughly amounts to $35 billion US. This is an impressive increase of 48% compared to our previous year's numbers. Once again, congratulations to the Department of Tourism and to the work that has been led by Secretary Cristina Frasco. It marks the highest record of growth in gross value added in tourism since the year 2000. In 2023, we welcomed 5.45 million international tourists into the country, exceeding our target of 4.8 million for the year. And additionally, just from January to March of this year, international tourist arrivals in the Philippines have reached 2.9 million for that period. These highlight the robust recovery and continued appeal of our country as a top travel destination. But going beyond monetary values and numbers, these figures also mean millions of lives being changed for the better. And that's why I hope that our efforts here will lead to even better practices, more tourism arrivals, not just for our country, but for the entire world. Ladies and gentlemen, I am truly excited to see the outcome of these meetings as we pursue our own understanding of the stories and traditions in every culture and dish that we encounter. Let us continue to use our cultural capital to connect and sample experiences and flavors that are profound and transformative. Once again, I extend my gratitude to the UN Tourism for your leadership in advancing tourism, not only here in the Philippines, not only here in our region, but in the entire world. I call on all the delegates, stakeholders, and partners to contribute eagerly to the success of this gathering. Let us celebrate our own cultural diversity and wonders as we build a brighter, better, and greener future for tourism here in Asia, the Pacific, and the world. Thank you all very much, and I wish you great success at this conference.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacanang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service is heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 15.640 MHz, 17.820 MHz, and 12.010 MHz. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacanang in Review. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacanang.